One of the things you did ask me a while back was about how people are buying music. And I think you asked me what was the last, I think the question you asked me a while back was what was the last thing I bought or downloaded?
Right, right, right. So I was curious to know, and I would like also the audience to participate.
Yeah.
I would like to know what was the last album or cassette or CD that you bought? When was the last time you actually purchased music? So what was the last cassette? Let's go back. What was the last
Cassette.
cassette that you bought? And then what was the last CD that you bought? And then as we progressed in time, when was the last time you bought a download on the internet?
So I've never bought a cassette album.
You've never bought a cassette?
No, cassette album, no.
Okay.
Because when I got into music was probably the late 90s. So Thriller, my parents bought that, the I don't think they got the vinyl, I think they got the tape Off the Wall and Thriller. But during the 80s, my taste for music wasn't really, it wasn't to the case where I'll buy or anything like that. It was 1991 when I got my dad gave me a Walkman, a CD Walkman, and when I got the CD Walkman, the first couple of albums, CDs I bought were Dangerous, the Bobby album. It was Heavy D and the Boys, Peaceful Journey, TLC's Ooh on a TLC tip, and Vogue, Born to Sing,
Okay.
and Tony, the Carnival. Is it the Carnival time?
No, it's the Revival.
The Revival, yeah, the Revival.
Yeah.
So those were the 6 CDs that are my first 6. I got them all around the same time. I think I remember going. So those are the 6 that I listened to religiously.
Was this Columbia House?
No. I hadn't left Nigeria by that time. Okay. I hadn't left Nigeria by that time. No. Oh, Columbia House took my CDs from 6 to 300. I had over 300 CDs. So Columbia House and BMG, I love you guys. Right. You guys really gave me a collection and stuff.
Yes,
but
they beefed up our collections.
Man, I miss those days. I mean,
I do.
Those were the 6 that I went out and I first bought and really got into. So I never got a tape, a cassette.
What about music download? When's the last time you downloaded, like purchased a download? Once things started
there's a difference between online. So there's a difference between purchase and download.
Yes.
Yeah. So
there is.
Yeah. So there is. So and so one could say that there's an album that's out past or present that you can't get. I mean, as much as I loved music, when Napster came around, I thought it was heaven, because one of the things that Napster did for me was there were so many singles and remixes that I hadn't had access to. That when you had Napster, you could, lots of Blackstreet remixes and Guy remixes and stuff that I'd never heard before. That because they released stuff in Japan, and there's a remix maxi single out in Japan or a promo single. And when Napster came out, it was like everything up there. You can just get anything. It was almost as if my CD collection was, as much as I cherished them, Napster, I was able to access so much stuff. Now, I remember talking to an artist back when I was living in LA, and I was working briefly at Edmonds Babyfaces and his Tracy Edmonds Entertainment Company. And I remember they were saying, "Oh, this is going to be the death of music." And I said, "Well, the problem is that CDs are, were outrageous. I mean, unless you go to Best Buy, in the UK, a CD was
I used to buy all my new
£15.
Stuff from Best Buy.
Yeah, I mean, apart from Best Buy, who were selling at cost, they were still expensive. And I'm thinking, if you balance it out, and the CD costs were because it cost less than 50 cents to make the CD. So you're charging so much, and I think that's why. But so when Napster came down, I stopped it almost changed the whole buying stuff, because
Yeah.
it was a little bit more accessible listening to the computer. But I can't remember the last. I think the last CD that I do remember buying was Ashanti. Goodness, I can't. I still remember Ashanti.
No, is
Yeah.
this something you're embarrassed about?
Yes, I am,
No.
because it's because I still remember that blue CD. I think I still have it. No, I left it in the States. I remember that was probably the last one I do remember buying. If you
Hmm,
ask me what's the
that's
last
interesting.
download that the one of the last downloads I bought. So in 2012, the UK hosted the Olympics, and so
Mhm.
they have the Olympics and they have the Paralympics, and the theme tune for the Paralympics was Public Enemy's "You're Harder Than You Think." I don't know if you know
Mm.
that track. Um,
Vaguely remember that. Yeah.
it probably came out in 2010 or something like that, but
Mhm.
it was just promoted throughout the UK. It was just that, because that was the theme, because the Olympics was so big,
Yeah,
and then the
that was a good song.
Paralympics. I mean, you couldn't get tickets for the Olympics, and the Paralympics you couldn't buy tickets for that. It was very hard. So, but it was the song of the Paralympics,
Right.
and so it was so popular. In fact, um, they did bring Chuck D, but Flavor Flav had a because he had a prison record, he couldn't fly into the country to perform at the end. But that was I think that's the last download, not probably the first and only download I
Wow.
bought, and that was 2012. I still have it.
2012.
2012.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, my last cassette, I believe, and I bought a couple of them. So I bought LSG, which was
Cassette
97.
on
Yeah,
cassette.
cassette.
Wow.
Yeah, I bought LSG. Next, Rated Next, I think their first album.
Wow.
And uh I think it was like LL Cool J's. I think the name was called. The album's called Phenomenon. It had
Oh,
like something like a
yeah,
phenomenon,
yeah,
something like.
yeah.
But those are like the last three cassettes I
Cassettes.
remember
Wow.
purchasing. And then I'm like, I eventually bought me a CD player, like
Oh,
a big
okay,
stereo
okay.
system. I had CDs, but for some reason I just was so used to getting cassettes, and they were cheaper than the CD. And so,
Ah.
if it was a questionable, like at that time, I think Next was a new group, so I'm like, I don't want to spend too much money. I don't know if they're any good. But so that was that. And then my last CDs I bought was um, hmm, it's a group named Cherish. They had a song called "Do It to It." John Legend first album. That was it. So yeah, and then my last download. I don't know that I bought any downloads. I just downloaded.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know that I bought any download. I have like friends that are artists that I would support them, but it wasn't necessarily because it was just like people you buy their thing just to support. But and like an artist that I actually listened to and enjoyed and followed and as a fan, I would probably say I have actually bought an Omarion single. I just don't remember which one. I think it was. What was it? I think it was something after Icebox. Just because
Okay.
I think he went independent, and I was like, well, let me support him. So I bought like the single. I can't remember. I think it had Lil Wayne or somebody on it. But those are mine.
Okay.
But I just think it's interesting to think back, when was the last time, because now it's music is essentially free, and from what you're saying and the story you gave us, which is true, like the Napster thing, it's kind of our fault in a way. Like music is, well, no, I won't say that, because I think, like you were saying, that the prices for the CDs were so outrageous.
Yeah, and they were
It
so
kind of
cheap to
pushed
make.
people to where, hey, I mean, the music is, I can get it online for free.
Yeah.
Why pay 17, $18 for a CD? It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. It was just too much money. When record
Yeah.
albums and stuff like that, like, the 45s and the 12 inches and all that, those were, reasonable for the most part. But when it started getting into the CDs, I think the prices started to get a little outrageous when you were buying the music. So it
And
kind
when
of
it was,
forced people to
yeah,
say,
and especially when they tell you how cheap it costs to make the music. It's like, so I mean, I think the last album I did buy was, anything Michael Jackson came out, so it was Invincible.
right,
And
Invincible.
yeah, and as I said,
Yeah, about that one too.
there is a different sound quality. But back then I just put it in my car. Put the CD in, and then you play it. You have a 6 CD changer in your car and stuff like that, so you can put a lot of different CDs in it. The problem is now that if somebody gave me a CD, my computer doesn't have a CD drive.
Right.
I you know
Exactly. The
I
cars don't. The cars don't. The newer manufactured cars don't have. I don't have a CD player in my
Yeah,
car.
I
You
don't
know,
have I have a Blu-ray, but I don't even know how to put it on anymore because
and
all
that's
my
probably not the best way to listen to music. You know.
no, yeah, but even if it's to watch a film, everything's all digital. So, I wouldn't even know what to do with a CD, and
Right.
I don't know if somebody gave me a brand if I got I don't know if my if and this is be honest. So if um Jodeci came out with a brand new album, or New Edition came with a brand
Uh,
new album, I probably would listen to it once, but I don't know if any album will have the same nostalgia that I would just like, oh, there's this new album, and just listen to it and continuously. I can deal with a song, but not too much.
but
I'm
we're
not
forgetting about the added bonus that came with albums and physical media, because my favorite thing is opening up that CD wrapping,
the credits and
smelling. I don't know why this is so weird,
oh,
creepy
the
to some
smelling.
people, but
Okay.
smelling that smell of the new like fresh CD and the booklet, and then like reading the credits and looking at the
Yeah.
photos. I
Love.
love that part. I love the different photos and things and the credits, that new, fresh, brand new CD or cassette smell. I used to love that smell.
Uh,
So that part was a big part of my experience. And we don't, the new people, the younger generation don't even get that experience. It's like, you don't have anything physical to listen to. And a lot of times they're creating their own playlists, so they're not necessarily listening to the full length albums. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. But everybody, make sure you leave your last CD and cassette and music download. What was your last CD purchase, your last cassette download purchase, in the comment section. We would love to read them. And any other comments, leave them in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Thanks again for watching, guys.
And before we go, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
Yeah, and also remember to turn on the notification so you can know when we have another show. But thanks again.
That too.